social media represents a powerful set of tools online that you can use to engage your stakeholders. And our panelists are here to share some best practices, some lessons learned, and some real-life case study examples with you. How your organization uses social media. What types of social media does your organization use?
We're involved with Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, YouTube, and LinkedIn. We made sure that we kind of outlined what our goals are going to be and then found the best platform that fit those goals.
Everyone's hands pretty much went up with LinkedIn. That's a very strong tool professionally that a lot of our employees are on, and we also have a company page on LinkedIn. I represent my company on Twitter, kind of the face of CE Solutions, so I tweet things that are relevant to the industry and our followers. I'm on Facebook for personal, but I also connect it to my professional contacts as well. So there's a lot of time, like I'm fans of clients that we have for CE Solutions, and that way I can keep up to date on what's important to them and what kind of things they're updating on their Facebook pages.
We use social media for both internal and external messaging and communication collaborations so we can provide the best customer service.
We currently use Facebook, LinkedIn, and SharePoint internally. And as it relates to Facebook, what we have done is we have set up regional sites for Facebook. For LinkedIn, we have made it a requirement for our business development teams to make sure that they are linked in for that networking aspect. We have internally wikis, discussion forums, lessons learned areas that everyone can go to for answers on things.
What would you say some of the pros and the cons are?
We feel that it's still somewhat difficult to measure the impact or the ROI around implementing social media. I think people think that if you launch a Twitter account, you immediately are going to reach 100,000 people. Then you have to be thoughtful about a strategy for tweeting. It's important that you can allow your internal users to be open and honest, but you have to be careful because it could backfire.
We have 20 bloggers that can speak on behalf of the company and have administrator rights to all of our platforms, and they don't have to have prior approval. They can just have at it. When we were developing the list and then we brought it to the executive team, these are the same people that are out at industry functions, that are presenting to clients, that are meeting with architects and engineers.
Has social media enabled your organization to more effectively communicate its messaging?
Well, essentially, GSA is a customer service organization. There's a variety of services we provide, and we work with federal agencies across the U.S. One of our organizations, FAS, which is the Federal Acquisition Service, is doing both a wiki site, Better by Wiki, and interact.gsa.gov, which is essentially a platform for external stakeholders to come to learn more about the services being provided and create dialogue, have open communication so that they can better access information in a less formal process. It's a little bit more open communication.
How are you using it to reach out to your customers?
Social media is a good tool to help you know your client. It's a great research tool. You can find out what your clients are talking about, what they value, what kind of things they're involved with in the community, and then it's how you leverage that information or tie that into your relationships. One of the great benefits of LinkedIn is from a business development perspective. If there's a client that you want to work with, a person, you can put their name in LinkedIn, and then it shows how you're connected to that person. You want to be focused in your efforts, but at the same time, you never know where your next opportunity is going to come from.
How do you think social media is helping your company brand, and what are you doing to enhance that?
And when we launched our website, we made sure to include more integration with our different social media platforms. We're able to have information about our brand in multiple places, and then also connecting with the people that we want to connect with through those different platforms. You kind of have to figure out where the people are that you want to talk to, and then target the message towards them that way. So
one of the things that we feel that Facebook particularly helps with is that giving our clients some assurance that we are a stable company. They can go out to the Facebook pages, they can get updates on projects, they can see new project wins. Interesting information that Suffolk is a thriving, growing organization, and we think that benefits, I mean, obviously that benefits us, and puts them a little bit more at ease when they think about doing work with us.
And how they view you as a person within social media, and then also within your industry and as a leader?
And so I try to update my LinkedIn at least once a week so that I'm still top of mind with people. If you were to walk into a networking event and just kind of stand in the corner and look at everybody, how beneficial is that to you? You can see what everybody else is doing, and that's great, but you don't really get those connections and those relationships.
How do the rest of the panelist organizations work with inappropriate uses of social media?
Sometimes I think of things that are kind of funny, and I might want to tweet it or put it on Facebook. But then I'm like, okay, think about who else is following you, and think about who's you're friends with, and would you say that in front of them to their face? And it's kind of a good rule of thumb. We work on a lot of projects that are confidential at some point, or there might be components of a facility that we're designing or building that the client would rather not have in the public realm. Just make sure that people know if there's confidential issues with clients or confidential spaces, that everyone's aware that they shouldn't be talking about those things.
It's important with these, especially with the new technologies that are out there, that we continue to educate and let folks know what you can and can't do, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate.
When you consider you go on your email or you go on your Facebook page at work, and just opening those sites allows for the opportunity for security issues to come about. So for example, with the death of bin Laden, we as an organization received communication about avoiding email scams or Facebook scams. But that takes on a whole nother process.
People that have not taken jobs because Facebook is blocked. And that is the way that people are, the college folks are coming out of school. They're living this, and so as organizations need to understand that and realize that it's here to stay.
How does your leadership within the company resonate?
In terms of leadership around social media, it's allowed me to do things like do lunch and learns with them on here's some ways that you can maximize your LinkedIn profile. And we've talked about the relationships, the connections, the brand awareness, but another thing is it's not only what you put out, but it's also what you take in. People are tweeting interesting things, great articles, great blogs, and there's just so much you can learn. There's so many smart people out there that if you're going through a challenge, chances are somebody else has gone through it. So that's another way to help increase your leadership and just your knowledge, and I just feel like it really kind of enhances you as a professional to learn from what everyone else is doing through that connectedness.
It's just easier to access those Twitter or Facebook, whatever, real time, versus back in the day having to maybe go back to a computer.
As a marketer, it's been kind of a dream come true because it's really provided me a seat at the table with the leadership team that I think I would have gotten there otherwise, but I don't think I would have gotten there this quickly. So it's been really wonderful to have a whole another set of avenue to use my skills in communication and marketing.
Has social media impacted your internal company culture?
I have a funny story about a vice president who, came up to me one day and he's like, I need a LinkedIn profile, I need a Facebook profile, I need it today. And he was on the schedule to get his all up and ready, but he wanted it that day. And I said to him, what's the rush? He goes, well, this guy called me and he's been trying to get a hold of me for a week, and he said he looked me up on LinkedIn and he looked me up on Facebook and he couldn't find me. So that kind of clicked in his mind that day. But it's definitely at this point within our company, people are like, can you put that on Facebook? Are you going to put that on Facebook? Is that going to get tweeted?
And if that client, they're technologically savvy, you better have a Facebook page, and be LinkedIn and have a Twitter account, but it doesn't work for all clients. You just have to know who you're selling to and how they get their information, and that's the way that you can't forget, that's how, it's all about the client. So you have to just know who they are and what's going to resonate with them.
The internal social media in our organization has really promoted employee communication and increased morale. How are we working in new ways with the current political and economic climate we're in? And we've been using something called the Recovery Challenge, which was essentially during the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act funding for federal projects. We had to learn to work in new ways. And so we're trying to glean sort of lessons learned from that process to take forward into the next period, which is, we went through a peak in funding in federal projects, and now we're seeing the budget cuts and what's happening, and sort of funding falling off. And how do we take the lessons learned from that peak period?
I can quickly learn things about people that might take going out to lunch with them 5 or 6 times before I would have learned that in the traditional relationship building sense. So I get to learn about their family, their children, what their hobbies are, where they went on vacation, and it just kind of adds some depth to our relationship.
Because how do you stay in touch with people?
But research shows that it takes 6 touches to a client.
How do you keep your profile up?
It's a communication tool.
It's monumental